This is Marty Ward, and I'm going to run through the latest security heartbeat demo. It's the project formerly known as Galileo, which will come out of the gates as the security heartbeat functionality, which defines a new category of security called synchronized security. This is a nice overview of Copernicus. This is the front dashboard, so you can see many important things at a glance, right? How is the system running? Are the connections, stable and viable? Is VPN okay? Services okay? Here's a little bit of web activity, just because we're about to show how you deal with potentially unwanted apps and malware. So I had to inject a few just to see, how the system was running and dealing with it. So that's some leftover web history. The security heartbeat, we have one connected endpoint right now. I'm actually going to generate a couple more to make this even more interesting. Advanced threat protection is showing all systems green, and the user threat quotient is looking healthy as well. These are all green, but I realized maybe some of you are colorblind on the record as you're watching this recording. So that's why we include the text as well. Security heartbeat, everything's green. You won't see any text in the green, but when something's amber or yellow, you will see a word that says warning, and when something's red, you will see system at risk. So I'll show that as we go through that. Okay, so this is the, and then you see, CPU running pretty well here at 9%, kind of bumps up and down based on what I do. The memory is running hot, as you can see, because I've got multiple virtual machines and GoToMeeting running, so we're using up that memory pretty well. Normally, this would be quite low in a typical customer environment, so nothing to worry about there. In the middle here, you'll see allowed application categories as far as what apps are being allowed in the environment, any network attacks that we may have seen, blocked apps that we might be preventing, and allowed web categories and who's gone where. So this is actually a lot of history that I've been doing over the last few weeks, right, as far as websites that I've gone to test this demo, etc. But you can see an ongoing list here of places maybe people have gone. We'll see active policies down here. Very simple demo. We have two network policies, amber or yellow, which I will explain for the PUA, and a red policy if we get malware. So I'll explain that as we go through it. Okay, so there's a quick overview of the Copernicus screen dashboard. And if we go over here to the endpoint, we can see everything's green and healthy, which is nice. We don't have any current issues. We'll be diving into this screen a little bit as we go as well to look at users and devices. So here's a list of, as mentioned, as advertised, it's running a little slow today. So as this pops up, you'll be able to see the users and devices in this test. But we'll be looking at this today. So all these devices are looking good. The administrator, me, is the user. Everything looks so far so good. Okay. Get back to the front screen there. All's well. All right. First thing I want to do is make sure we have internet connectivity and that we are up and running. So I usually bring up CNN, and unfortunately it usually has terrible news on the front page like it does today. Very sad, deadly blast in Bangkok. But this is active August 17th news here for CNN, so you can see that. And then we're going to use Salesforce.com as our internal application to represent our internal application on this demo. So we want to see if we can get to that as well. So we're representing two things. The CNN will represent external internet. Salesforce will represent internal apps, which is important because during the demo, we're actually going to show how, depending on the severity of the malware or potentially unwanted app, we will shut off either one or both of these environments. So here's Salesforce.com. All seems to be going well, and they want to make sure you're coming to Dreamforce here in September. Okay, so that's good. CNM's up and running. I'm just going to close those for now. We'll come back to those in a bit. I would like to go and now generate some more endpoints so we can see more activity. So let me start this little app right here. A little script will give us some more endpoints here. We're actually going to generate 3 endpoints, as you can see there. So when we come back over here, the Copernicus screen should show us 3 instead of 1, which is perfect. Okay, great. All right, so we have 3 healthy endpoints, and what fun is that? So let's go generate some malware and show you how this heartbeat works between the network and the endpoint. What is really fascinating, what I really enjoy showing this demo, you're going to see the same information on both sides. We're showing you both consoles, endpoint, and network so that you can see that the information is being shared between them. Okay, we're up and running. Everything's active. Let's start having some fun. I open our little malware generation tool here, recruitment tools and reports. This recruitment tool, so say for instance, somebody wanted to try some phishing email and get inside Sophos. One of the things they may try is to send an email that looks like it was supposed to be sent maybe to the VP of HR, but was accidentally sent to you. And let's say it included all salaries and merit raises for everyone in the company. So it has the full report. While most people, of course, would never open that, there's a few people who may be tempted to maybe just take a peek and see what that looked like before they delete it. What harm could that do, right? So we open this recruitment tool, and the first thing you see is a threat's been detected. So right away, we know there is some sort of problem going on. I'm going to open up the Copernicus front page here, the dashboard, and you'll see we have 2 green endpoints, but here is one that has a warning in this amber or yellow color, depending on where you are in the world. So right away, we know we have an issue. We can look at this on the network side and say, there's the host name, the IP address, the user happened 58 seconds ago. This seems to be a problem. And if we go to the cloud side, we are also going to see something similar. This takes a little bit to refresh sometimes, given my system is slow today. So as you can see here, we've got the same information over here. We know the name happened about a minute ago. Here's the IP address, the operating system, the user, the heartbeat is active. We happen to be running beta code. Let me view this warning. A potentially wanted app has been detected. And via this path, right? Here's the process and path, right? Use recruitmenttool.exe, so we know what has been clicked on and what the problem is. So as you can see, we're seeing the health status and the details on both sides, right? And I can also view it here on the front dashboard, right? Here's the alert, the issue, the path, the user, the device, and when it happened. Very complete information. Now, based on the policy I've set up for this particular demo, for a potentially unwanted app, which is, as mentioned, amber or yellow, this is not as severe as a piece of malware getting into our system. So this is potentially unwanted app. It's kind of a gray area. Maybe we don't want people running it. Maybe it's okay. But in this case, the policy we've set up is allow people to continue to access the internet. That's okay, but we're going to shut them off to internal access, internal applications. So we should be able to still get to CNN as we have here, so that's good. We're able to get outside, just like, look at that lovely Sophos UTM ad. And Salesforce.com should be blocked because it's an internal app, and that's our policy. And so we have the block request, and granted, this is technically alpha code. I'm running pre-beta code, so this message was not something that we detailed out to be perfect in alpha code. But this message is effectively end user notification that says you have been blocked from internal application access. You're trying to access Salesforce.com. We are suspecting a potentially unwanted app on your system. So when you call IT, you now have information on why this is actually happening. So that's end user notification, and the policy is working well. Speaking of policies, let me show you that before I clean this up. So I'm going to go to the policy screen. We have a very simple set of policies set up. An amber rule, or yellow if you're in North America. This is a very simple rule. Basically says accept any service going to the wide area network, internet, or going to the LAN zone and coming from any network, but block them if they have a red or yellow heartbeat. So you're allowed to go to Salesforce.com unless you have a red or yellow heartbeat. And so that's effectively what you just saw was the potentially unwanted app coming in. We went to a yellow situation, and we've blocked access to Salesforce.com. You can, of course, change this from any host to a different set of hosts. You can, of course, change this from just Salesforce.com to a set of applications, and you can, play with services, et cetera, et cetera. So there are no default policies. These are all customized to whatever environment that they are running in. So you have complete control as a customer or partner on how to set up these rules and what you want them to be. That said, we will provide templates and best practices at launch so that customers and partners have some suggestions on how to set these things up. Our red rule, which we're about to get into in just a minute, says very similar: accept any service going to the WAN, the internet, for any user, or when in the local network, LAN, and coming from any network, but block them when they have a red heartbeat. So basically it's saying when anything goes red, we're blocking LAN and WAN. We're blocking local and internet access. Another very simple rule, but just wanted to show you how these rules work. Okay, so before we get to the red rule, I am going to clean up the situation here and get rid of this potentially unwanted app. So if I come over here to the endpoint, I will clean up the PUA and we'll get rid of this thing. And nicely, it's all green and healthy again here on the endpoint side. And if I refresh this screen, we should go back to green, fully 3 green here on the network side. Sometimes it takes a little bit of refreshing. Try that again. There we go. Okay, so we're fully back to 3 healthy endpoints on both the network and the cloud side and the endpoint side. So all is well, and just to prove that, we should be able to not only get to internet, which we were able to get to before. So here's CNN coming up, and all is well there. And then Salesforce should not have the blocked message anymore. We should be able to get to our internal app, our customer relationship database here. Perfect. So all's well, all's working, all's healthy. We're back up to a healthy state. So what fun is that? Let's start to create some more malware. Now, this one is also fun. This could be, maybe a marketing person or maybe a product management person going, I'd love to see the state of the market for, a particular market, whether it's endpoint market or network market, or maybe get those widget sales predictions. But man, that third-party analyst company wants to charge 15 grand for me to download this report. I sure would love to save 15 grand. How could I maybe search the internet to find this report? I'm sure there's some vendor that's probably trying to give this away for free because they want to highlight where they are in the leaders quadrant. So maybe I will look online and find some hopefully reputable site that may let me download it for free. So let me click on that now that I've downloaded it and get my widget sales predictions. Perfect. This is the file I wanted, but oh no. Threats detected. Maybe the site I went to download this report wasn't quite as reputable as I thought. That's going to be a problem. All right, so let's go back and see how Copernicus and Galileo are dealing with that. And you'll notice right away we have a system at risk. We have a red endpoint because that was me, because I downloaded the market state report. So this is bad. Right, you can click on that and get some details. Right, host name, user, IP address, user happened about a minute ago. If I click on advanced threats, because this happens to be one, get to that screen, you'll see we've got complete information because the security heartbeat from the endpoint has now said, okay, network, based on the fact that you saw a problem, I'm going to send you username, I'm going to send you threat information, I'm going to send you process information, I'm going to send you machine name. I'm going to send you all this detail so that you have the same information that I have. So this is the security heartbeat in action between endpoint and network, and this is what we call synchronized security, because you see it here, and you also see it here on the endpoint side. As soon as I refresh the screen, you can see the red status down here. Happened about a minute ago. IP address, operating system, user. Right, and if I view this, I can see, malicious traffic has been detected. The firewall has noticed it. I now have it on the endpoint as well. Here is the path and the report that I actually downloaded. So I have the complete information here that I also had on the firewall. So that is what we call synchronized security. right? And you can see it from this view as well, right? Issue, user, device, got all the details. Now, if the policy is working correctly, let's validate it. We should not only not be able to get to our internal apps like we were blocked before. There you have it, salesforce.com. We should also not be able to get to CNN this time. So this is the end user notification when you try to get to internal or external network access. And so both have been blocked. And when you call IT, or depending on how close your IT is to you, when you contact them, you can give them the information of what the issue is because you have end user notification. Okay, great. All right, now we should probably clean up this as well, but before we do, let's see. I just want to take a quick tour through some of the reporting. So on security heartbeat reporting, I want to show you some of the reports that are available, and you'll see the reporting, just because my machine is slow, is a little behind, right? It's already showing the potentially unwanted app as part of the report because that happened a couple minutes ago. It's not showing the red malware yet because we're just not updating fast enough on these virtual machines right now, but nothing to worry about in the GA version. Okay, but you get some reports here on the security heartbeating itself. You can get reports on advanced threat protection. Let's see if this has been updated yet, because it should have details on, oh yeah, there's our C2, our command and control malware event, right? So it shows I made one attempt. If I was the hacker, I made one attempt to get into the system with this malware, and shows you how the advanced threat has gotten in, right? If you had multiple advanced threats come in, and you would see obviously a lot higher numbers than this, but it gives you the detail and the history on that advanced threat. So those are just some of the many reports available, and I just wanted to run you through that screen before we start to clean this situation up. So I'm going to go into Quarantine Manager. Now I'm just going to clear this for the demo's sake as we've been running through this, but in reality, of course, what would happen at this point if it was a command and control event, and if it was a 0-day or some new advanced threat we haven't seen before, of course the IT people would want to go see that particular system and any other systems that may have been affected and figure out how to remove that malware, because if it's 0-day or a new threat that we haven't seen before, we can't just go clean it up because we don't have history of how to do that. So we'd have to go out, investigate that machine, figure out what's going on, and then remove the appropriate malware. For my demo purposes, it of course is a lot easier because I just get to simply clear this from the list. Quite simple, right? And this is what the IT people would do after they've technically cleared the malware. And I'm going to also reset the advanced threat screen. Again, something you wouldn't have to do manually, but because I'm running pre-beta code, we're just clearing the demo and cleaning it up for everyone so that you can see everything gets reset to green and back to a healthy state. There we go, 3 healthy endpoints on the network side, and then if I refresh on the endpoint side, we should likely get back to a perfectly green state. Not quite. Let me refresh one more time. Get back to the dashboard, and here we are, healthy green, no alerts, no issues to take care of right now. Similarly, on the endpoint side, we have plenty of reports that people can not only use and view online, but can download in PDF or CSV format. You can do that on both the endpoint side and the network side. Network side also allows PDF and Excel exports and things like that. So if you one of the questions I got asked in some of the partner environments was, yeah, can I export these reports so they can put them into a broader report that I need to send up to senior management? And you absolutely can. So just to give you a feel for that. Okay, so we've cleaned everything up on network and endpoint side. We're back to a healthy state. And if that is the case, we should be able to get to our internal and external applications. Salesforce.com back up and running. Perfect. We have access once again, and I should be able to get out to the internet and CNN. And I certainly can. There it is. Good. Okay. So there we go. We'll just clean that up. I think I have covered everything I wanted to show you at this point. So that is our demo of the security heartbeat working between network and endpoint, our next-gen endpoint, our next-gen network, synchronizing security between network and endpoint, which is a dramatic improvement in protection compared to what's available on the market today.